The massive alien ship appeared above Earth without warning. It was 3 times bigger than any human spacecraft ever built. The ship looked like a giant crystal mixed with metal, glowing with soft blue light. People all over the world stopped what they were doing and stared at the sky. Admiral Park Hyun-woo stood in the command center of the International Space Station. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. For 30 years, he had served in Earth's space forces. He had seen many things, but nothing like this. "Sir, they're sending a message," said Lieutenant Kim Bo-ra, her fingers flying over the control panel. The message came through in perfect English, then Korean, then Chinese, then every major language on Earth. The voice was calm and pleasant. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Trade Confederation. We come in peace. We wish to meet with your leaders." Dr. Kim So-jin walked into the command center. She was Earth's top weapons specialist, a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. She had spent her whole life studying how to make better weapons to protect Earth. "What do you think?" Admiral Park asked her. "They knew our languages perfectly," she said. "They've been watching us for a long time." Captain Lee Jun-ho joined them. He was young for a captain, only 35, but he was the best pilot Earth had ever produced. His fighter squadron had never lost a battle. "The government wants us to set up a meeting," he said. "They're sending a shuttle down to the United Nations building in New York." 3 days later, the meeting began. The alien shuttle was beautiful and silent. It landed in Central Park without making any sound or burning the grass. The doors opened with a soft hiss. The first alien to step out was tall and looked like a lizard that walked on 2 legs. His skin was dark green with gold patterns. He wore a long coat that seemed to be made of liquid metal. His eyes were yellow and very intelligent. "I am Commander Velthar of the Sauros people," he said through a small device that translated his words. "I speak for the Confederation." Behind him came 2 more aliens. One looked like it was made of living crystal. It was tall and thin, and light moved through its body like water. The other alien looked like a giant ant, but it moved with grace and intelligence. Admiral Park, Dr. Kim, and Captain Lee waited for them in the UN building. The meeting room was full of Earth's best diplomats and scientists. "Welcome to Earth," Admiral Park said. "We are honored to meet you." Commander Velthar looked around the room. His yellow eyes took in everything. "Your planet is beautiful," he said. "Your people show great promise." The crystal alien spoke next. Its voice sounded like music. "I am Resonance of Stars, from the Ethereal Collective. We are pleased to find such a young species with so much potential." The ant-like alien made clicking sounds. The translator turned this into words. "The hive mind consensus greets Earth humans. We see opportunity for mutual benefit." For the first few days, the talks went well. The aliens told Earth about the galaxy. There were hundreds of intelligent species. Most of them traded with each other through the Confederation. There were amazing technologies and wonderful worlds to explore. "We would like to invite Earth to join our Confederation," Commander Velthar said. "But first, we must understand your capabilities." "What kind of capabilities?" asked Dr. Kim. "Military capabilities," said Velthar. "All members must be able to defend themselves and help defend others." Admiral Park nodded. "We can arrange a demonstration." The next day, Earth's military showed the aliens what they could do. They started with small weapons. Soldiers fired rifles and machine guns at targets. The aliens watched politely, but didn't seem impressed. "Interesting use of chemical propulsion," Velthar said to the crystal alien. "Very primitive, but clever." Next came the bigger weapons. Tanks fired their main guns. Artillery shells exploded in the distance. Fighter jets screamed overhead and dropped bombs. The ant alien clicked rapidly. The translator said, "Crude but effective for a developing species." Dr. Kim felt her face get hot, but she said nothing. Then came Earth's most advanced weapons. A railgun fired a metal slug so fast it glowed white-hot. The target exploded in a cloud of metal and fire. The aliens leaned forward with interest. "Now this is more advanced," Velthar said. "Kinetic energy weapons, still primitive, but showing real understanding of physics." A plasma rifle demonstration came next. The bright beam of superheated gas melted through 3 feet of steel armor. The aliens nodded approvingly. Energy-focusing techniques, said Resonance of Stars. Basic but functional. Finally, they showed the aliens footage of orbital bombardment. A satellite fired tungsten rods from space. The rods hit the ground with the force of small nuclear bombs, but without radiation. Orbital kinetic bombardment, Velthar said, making notes on a device that looked like flowing water. Effective for planetary warfare. Very straightforward approach. Captain Lee watched the aliens' faces. They looked like adults watching children play with toys. It made him angry, but he kept his expression neutral. The final demonstration was Earth's space fleet. 50 ships flew in formation around the International Space Station. They were sleek and fast, armed with the best weapons humanity could. Build Commander Velthar studied the ships through a viewing device. Small ships, he said. Fast, but limited range. Weapons are all kinetic or basic energy. No exotic matter manipulation, no gravitational weapons, no quantum disruption capabilities. The crystal alien's light pulsed slowly. They fight like their ancestors, throwing rocks and burning things, simple but honest. The ant alien clicked again. No understanding of dimensional warfare or consciousness attacks. Very limited. Dr. Kim clenched her fists under the table. Admiral Park put a gentle hand on her arm. Your weapons are impressive for your level of development, Velthar said with what might have been kindness. With proper guidance, Earth could become a valuable member of the Confederation. What kind of guidance? Asked Admiral Park. We would provide you with basic defensive technologies, Velthar explained. Nothing too advanced, of course. Young species must earn greater knowledge through time and service. Service? Captain Lee asked. All Confederation members contribute to the common good, said Resonance of Stars. Young species often provide raw materials and basic labor until they develop sufficient technology to contribute more meaningfully. The way the aliens said it made it sound reasonable, but something felt wrong to the humans in the room. We would like some time to consider your offer, Admiral Park said. Of course, Velthar replied. These are important decisions. We will return to our ship and wait for your answer. As the aliens left, Dr. Kim whispered to Admiral Park, Did you notice how they looked at our weapons? Like we were children playing with sticks and stones, the Admiral replied quietly. Captain Lee overheard them. They think we're weak, he said. They think we can't really fight. None of them knew that this would be humanity's greatest advantage. The aliens left Earth completely convinced that humans were harmless. They had no idea what was really hidden in the solar system. They had no idea what humans could really do when they were fighting for their lives. The Confederation had made their first mistake. They had underestimated humanity. It would be their last mistake. 3 months had passed since the aliens left Earth. Engineer Choi Min-ho worked day and night in the secret lunar research facility. The base was hidden on the far side of the moon, where Earth could not see it. Only a few people knew it existed. Choi Min-ho was tired. His eyes were red from staring at alien technology for weeks. The small metal device on his workbench looked simple, but it was more advanced than anything humans had ever built. The aliens had left behind several small items during their visit. They probably thought humans were too primitive to learn anything from them. They were wrong. Any progress? Asked scientist Yoon Da-eun as she walked into the lab. She was even more tired than Choi Min-ho. Her black hair was messy and she had coffee stains on her lab coat. I think I understand how their power source works, Choi Min-ho said, pointing at the glowing crystal inside the device. It's not nuclear or chemical. It's something else entirely. Yoon Da-eun sat down next to him. Show me. Look at these energy readings, Choi Min-ho said, bringing up data on his computer screen. The power output is impossible according to our physics, but I think they're manipulating space itself to create energy. Space manipulation? Yoon Da-eun leaned closer. That should be impossible. That's what I thought, but watch this. Choi Min-ho ran a scan of the device. The computer showed energy patterns that twisted and bent in ways that hurt to look at. They're creating tiny holes in space-time. The energy comes from somewhere else. Yoon Da-eun stared at the screen. If this is real, then everything we know about physics is wrong. Not wrong, Choi Min-ho said. Just incomplete. Far away from the moon, Captain Nam Tae-jun was having the worst day of his military career. His ship, the Earth Defense Force vessel Horizon, floated in space near the outer colonies. 3 settlements had stopped answering communications 2 weeks ago. The government had sent Nam's team to investigate. What they found made no sense. "Captain, you need to see this," said his communications officer, Lieutenant Park Min-seo. Her voice was shaking. Nam Tae-jun floated over to her station. The Horizon's main screen showed the colony on Kepler 442b. The settlement should have been home to 50,000 people. Instead, the screen showed empty buildings and silent streets. "Where is everyone?" Nam asked. "That's just it, sir. There's no sign of fighting, no bodies, no damage to the buildings. It's like everyone just disappeared." Nam felt cold fear in his stomach. "What about the other colonies?" "Same thing, sir. Ganymede Station and Titan Base are completely empty. All the people are gone, but everything else is untouched." Nam stared at the empty colony. "Send a team down to investigate. Full environmental suits. No one goes anywhere alone." The investigation team came back 3 hours later with impossible news. The colonists had not been killed. They had been taken, but not by any human force. The evidence was clear. Alien technology had been used. "There are burn marks from some kind of energy weapon," reported Sergeant Kim Hye-jin, "but not the kind we saw in the demonstrations. This is something completely different, something that can paralyze people without hurting them." Nam Tae-jun felt sick. "How long ago?" "The last communications from all 3 colonies stopped exactly 17 days ago," Park Min-seo said. "All within a 6-hour window." Coordinated attack, Nam realized. Someone knew exactly where our colonies were and hit them all at once. The trip back to Earth took 4 days. Nam's ship pushed its engines harder than ever before. When they arrived, Nam immediately reported to General Bae In-sung at Earth Defense Headquarters. General Bae was a large man with scars on his face, from the resource wars. He had fought in every major conflict of the past 20 years. Nothing scared him. But when Nam finished his report, the general's face went pale. "You're certain it was alien technology?" General Bae asked. "Yes, sir. The energy patterns don't match anything in our database, but they do match some of the readings we got from the Confederation ships." General Bae was quiet for a long moment. Then he pressed a button on his desk. "Get me President Kang Mi-ra. Emergency priority." President Kang Mi-ra arrived at the military headquarters 2 hours later. She was a small woman, with steel in her voice and fire in her eyes. She had led Earth through 3 wars and 2 economic collapses. She did not panic easily, but when she heard Nam's report, her hands shook slightly. 3 colonies, she said, quietly. 57,000 people. All gone, General Bae confirmed. No trace except alien energy signatures. "The Confederation," President Kang said. It was not a question. "It has to be," General Bae replied. "The timing fits. They visited Earth, saw our defenses, and decided we were easy targets." President Kang stood up and walked to the window. Earth looked peaceful from this height. Cities sparkled with lights. Ships moved between the orbital stations. Millions of people lived their lives, not knowing that death might be coming from the stars. "What do we know about the Confederation's real capabilities?" she asked. "More than they think," General Bae said. "The Luna facility has been analyzing their technology. We're learning things that would surprise them." Meanwhile, in space, far from Earth, Commander Velthar stood on the bridge of his flagship. The ship was enormous, bigger than any human city. Its weapons could crack planets. Its shields could stop stars. Velthar was studying reports from the human colonies. The harvesting had gone perfectly. 57,000 new workers for the Confederation mines. Young species always provided the best laborers. They were strong and they followed orders well, especially after proper conditioning. "The humans will make excellent workers," said his aide, a smaller Sauros named Ketvar. "They adapt quickly, and they breed fast." "Yes," Velthar agreed, "and their primitive weapons make them easy to control. We can take the whole planet whenever we choose." The crystal alien, Resonance of Stars, appeared on the bridge in a shimmer of light. Ethereals could move instantly between their ships using quantum consciousness transfer. The hive mind consensus agrees with the harvesting plan, Resonance of Stars said in its musical voice. Humans show potential for long-term productivity. How long before the main fleet arrives? Velthar asked. 6 months, Resonance of Stars replied. 200 ships, more than enough to subdue one primitive planet. Velthar looked at the star charts. Earth was just one small blue dot among billions of stars. Soon it would be another Confederation slave world. The humans would work in the mines and factories until they died. Their children would be raised as servants. Their technology would be forgotten. It was the way of the galaxy. Strong species ruled, weak species served. The Confederation had done this to 1,000 worlds. Earth would be no different. But Velthar had made one critical error. He assumed that the humans had shown him their best weapons. He assumed that primitive people could not hide anything from advanced aliens. He assumed that Earth's real defenses were as weak as the weapons they had demonstrated. He was wrong about all of it. Back on Earth, President Kang Mira called an emergency meeting. Only 12 people were invited. They were the most important. Military and scientific leaders on the planet. The meeting took place in a room buried deep underground, protected from any possible alien surveillance. Ladies and gentlemen, President Kang began, we are at war. The enemy has already attacked our colonies and taken our people. They will return for Earth itself. Admiral Park Hyun-woo spoke first. What are our options? We fight, President Kang said simply. But not the way they expect us to fight. Dr. Kim So-jin leaned forward. The Luna Research Facility has made breakthroughs. We understand their technology better than they know. Good, President Kang said, because we have 6 months to build weapons that can kill gods. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Humanity was about to bet everything on a single desperate gamble. They would either win completely, or they would cease to exist. The war for humanity's survival had begun. The secret war began immediately. While Earth's regular media showed normal life continuing, humanity's greatest minds worked in hidden facilities across the solar system. They had 6 months to build weapons that could fight gods. Dr. Lim Jae-wook had not slept in 3 days. He stood in front of a massive holographic display in the Luna facility's main laboratory. The display showed equations that would have been impossible just months before. Alien mathematics mixed with human creativity to create something entirely new. The key is understanding how they think, Dr. Lim said to his team. They use exotic matter for everything. Their shields, their weapons, their engines, but exotic matter has weaknesses. Engineer Choi Min-ho nodded from his workstation. I've been studying their shield technology. It's designed to stop energy weapons and exotic matter attacks, but it has one major flaw. What flaw? Asked Dr. Yoon Da-yoon. It can't stop simple kinetic energy, Choi Min-ho said with a tired smile. Their shields are like armor designed to stop lasers and plasma, but a regular bullet could go right through. A regular bullet won't scratch their ships, Dr. Yoon pointed out. No, Dr. Lim agreed, but a tungsten rod moving at 90% of light speed will cut their ship in half. The team stared at him. What he was suggesting was barely possible with human technology. Relativistic kinetic weapons, Dr. Lim continued. We take our railgun technology and scale it up, way up. We build mass drivers that can accelerate projectiles to near light speed. The power requirements would be enormous, Choi Min-ho said. Then, we use their own power technology, Dr. Yoon said, holding up one of the alien devices. We've learned how to copy their space-time manipulation. We can generate the power we need. Commander Shin Yu-jin walked into the laboratory. She was in charge of coordinating all of humanity's secret military preparations. Her job was to turn scientific breakthroughs into working weapons before the aliens returned. How long until we have a working prototype? She asked. 3 weeks, Dr. Lim said. Maybe 2 if we don't sleep. You have 2 weeks, Commander Shin said. Mars shipyards are ready to start mass production as soon as we have working designs. On Mars, the underground factories had been converted from civilian manufacturing to weapons production. Millions of workers labored in shifts around the clock. They built components for weapons that officially did not exist. Engineer Park Dong-woo supervised the construction of the first relativistic mass driver. The weapon was massive, requiring an entire asteroid to serve as its mounting platform. When completed, it would be able to fire tungsten rods with enough force to destroy planets. "How many can we build in 6 months?" asked General Bei In-sung. During his inspection tour. 50, maybe 60 if we strip components from civilian infrastructure, Park Dong-woo replied. "Each one will be more powerful than any weapon in human history." "Do it," General Bei said. "Strip whatever you need to strip. If we lose this war, civilian infrastructure won't matter anyway." Meanwhile, Captain Lee Jun-ho was training pilots for ships that shouldn't exist. The new fighters were built using hybrid human-alien technology. They were faster than anything the Confederation had seen because they combined alien power systems with human engineering philosophy. "Forget everything you know about space combat," Captain Lee told his pilots. "The aliens fight at long range with exotic weapons. They expect their enemies to fight the same way. We're going to fight up close with kinetic weapons and surprise." "Lieutenant?" Kim Bora raised her hand. "Sir, how close is up close?" "Close enough to see their faces when they realize they're going to die," Captain Lee replied grimly. The pilots were flying ships that used alien space-time manipulation for propulsion, but mounted human-designed weapons. Railguns, particle beams, and kinetic missiles filled the weapon bays. The ships were built for one purpose, getting close enough to enemy vessels to deliver devastating short-range attacks. Admiral Park Hyun-woo coordinated the overall defense strategy from the International Space Station. On his screens, he could see the progress of dozens of secret projects. Asteroid mining stations converted to weapons platforms. Hidden shipyards producing vessels that officially didn't exist. Research facilities working on technologies that would have been science fiction a year ago. "Status report," Admiral Park asked his aide. "Luna facility has successfully tested the first relativistic kinetic weapon," reported Captain Nam Tae-jun, who had been promoted after discovering the alien attacks on the colonies. "Mars factories are producing fighters faster. Then we can train pilots. The asteroid belt installations will be ready in 4 months. What about Sol Station?" Admiral Park asked. Sol Station was humanity's most ambitious project. The massive orbital platform had been built around Earth's largest solar collection array. Officially, it provided clean energy to Earth's cities. In reality, it was being converted into the most powerful directed energy weapon ever conceived. "Dr. Kim So-jin says it will be ready just in time," Captain Nam replied. "If the aliens arrive on schedule, Sol Station will be able to focus stellar energy into a coherent beam powerful enough to cut through anything." Admiral Park nodded. Sol Station was their ultimate weapon, but it could only fire once before the aliens would target it. That one shot had to count. In the deepest levels of the Luna facility, Dr. Kim So-jin worked on humanity's most secret weapon. She had studied the alien technology samples and found something the aliens themselves might not know. Their exotic matter could be turned into a weapon against them. "It's like a virus," Dr. Kim explained to Dr. Yoon Da-eun. "Nanites programmed to seek out and consume exotic matter. Once they're introduced to an alien ship, they'll spread throughout the vessel and eat it from the inside." "How do we deliver them?" Dr. Yoon asked. "Kinetic projectiles," Dr. Kim replied. "We coat the tungsten rods with nanite shells. When the rods penetrate alien hulls, the nanites are released into their ship systems. The nanites were microscopic, machines that could replicate themselves using exotic matter as raw material. A single successful hit would doom an entire alien vessel." President Kang Mi-ra made regular inspection tours of the secret facilities. She needed to see for herself that humanity's desperate gamble was working. Each visit showed remarkable progress, but also reminded her how much they were risking. "If the aliens discover what we're doing before their main fleet arrives, they'll attack immediately with whatever forces they have nearby," she told General Bei during one inspection. "Then we make sure they don't discover anything," General Bei replied. "We maintain normal communication schedules. We act like we're still considering their membership offer. We make them think we're exactly what they expect us to be." The deception was working. Regular messages went back and forth between Earth and the Confederation ships in deep space. Earth's diplomats expressed interest in joining the Confederation and asked technical questions about alien technology. The aliens replied with condescending patience, clearly amused by humanity's primitive curiosity. None of them suspected that every answer they gave was being analyzed by Earth's best scientists and turned into weapons. Commander Velthar continued to view humans as harmless primitives. His spy drones, disguised as communications satellites, showed Earth's normal activities continuing unchanged. Cities functioned normally. Ships moved on predictable civilian routes. Military forces conducted routine exercises with their demonstrated weapons. The spy drones never detected the hidden facilities. They never saw the weapons being built in secret. They never realized that humanity was preparing for total war. "The humans are behaving exactly as predicted," Velthar reported to his fleet commanders. "They are excited about joining the Confederation. They have no idea what awaits them." "Excellent," replied Fleet Admiral Zex Mori, commander of the approaching invasion force. 200 ships will be more than sufficient. We will arrive, demonstrate our superiority, and the planet will surrender without resistance. The aliens were completely confident in their victory. They had conquered hundreds of worlds using the same strategy. They would arrive with overwhelming force, demand surrender, and face only token resistance from primitive weapons. They had no idea that this time would be different. Back on Earth, the final preparations were beginning. In 3 months, the alien fleet would arrive. In 3 months, humanity would either prove that primitive weapons guided by desperate courage could defeat advanced technology wielded by arrogant conquerors, or Earth would become another slave world in the Confederation's empire. Dr. Lim J. Wook made one final calculation and smiled grimly. "The math works," he told Dr. Kim So-jin. "When they arrive, we'll be ready." The trap was set. Now humanity could only wait for their enemies to walk into it. The alien fleet emerged from hyperspace like a nightmare made real. 200 ships materialized in Earth's outer solar system, each one larger than Earth's biggest cities. Their hulls gleamed with exotic metals that bent light in impossible ways. Energy fields surrounded them like halos of death. Fleet Admiral Zex Mori stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion of Stars. He was larger than Commander Velthar, with scars across his reptilian face that told of 100 conquered worlds. His yellow eyes studied the blue planet that would soon become another Confederation slave world. "How long since the advance team made contact?" Zex Mori asked his communications officer. 6 months, Admiral. The humans have been sending regular diplomatic messages. They appear eager to join the Confederation. "Of course they are," Zex Mori laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "Primitive species always think they can bargain with their betters. Launch probe drones. I want to see their current military capabilities." The probe drones swept through the solar system, scanning every human installation. They found exactly what Zex Mori expected: civilian space stations, mining operations, and small military bases with primitive weapons. Nothing that could threaten even a single Confederation ship. "Their largest warships carry kinetic weapons and basic energy projectors," reported the science officer, a crystalline ethereal named Echo of Void. "No exotic matter manipulation, no gravitational weapons, no quantum disruptors." "Pathetic," Zex Mori said. "Begin standard intimidation protocol. I want them to see what real power looks like." The Confederation fleet moved toward Earth in perfect formation. As they approached, their weapons began charging. Energy signatures blazed across space as exotic matter cannons prepared to fire. Gravitational manipulators warped space-time around the ships. Quantum disruptor arrays hummed with power that could unmake matter at the atomic level. On Earth, Admiral Park Hyun-woo watched the alien fleet approach from the International Space Station's command center. His face was calm, but his hands were clenched into fists. "All stations report ready, sir," Captain Nam Tae-jun reported. "Luna facility confirms weapon systems are online. Mars defense grid is active. Asteroid platforms are in position." "What about Sol Station?" Admiral Park asked. "Dr. Kim So-jin reports full charge in the stellar collection array," Nam replied. "One shot available, maximum power." Admiral Park nodded. Sol Station was their ace in the hole, but they would only get one chance to use it. "Signal all units. Maintain radio silence until I give the word. Let them think we're helpless." The alien fleet stopped just outside Earth's orbital space. Zex Mori opened a communication channel to every receiver on the planet. His image appeared on screens across Earth. A massive reptilian predator with glowing eyes and teeth like knives. "People of Earth," Zex Mori said, his voice carrying the authority of a conqueror, I am Fleet Admiral Zex Mori of the Galactic Trade Confederation. Your planet has been selected for integration into our empire. President Kang Mira sat in the secure bunker beneath Earth Defense Headquarters, watching the alien broadcast with the rest of humanity's leadership. She had prepared for this moment. For 6 months, your species will serve the Confederation as laborers and resource providers, Zex Mori continued. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make your suffering last for generations. President Kang stood up and walked to the communication console. It was time to spring humanity's trap. This is President Kang. Mira of Earth, she said, broadcasting on all frequencies. We reject your demands. Leave our solar system immediately or face the consequences. On his flagship, Zex Mori burst into laughter. Consequences? From primitive humans? Your largest weapons are barely capable of scratching our hulls. You're about to find out what humans can really do, President Kang replied calmly. Zex Mori's laughter died. Something in the human's voice made him uneasy. Echo avoid. Scan the planet again. Full spectrum analysis. The ethereal's crystalline form pulsed with light as it expanded its consciousness through the ship's sensors. I detect no new weapon signatures, Admiral. Their technology appears unchanged. Then they're bluffing, Zex Mori decided. All ships prepare to demonstrate our power, target their military installations. The Confederation fleet's weapons charged to full power. Exotic matter cannons aimed at Earth's orbital stations. Gravitational manipulators locked onto the International Space Station. Quantum disruptors targeted the lunar surface. Admiral, President Kang's voice came over the communication channel. I'm going to give you one more chance. Leave now, and you might survive what's coming. Empty threats from a dying species, Zex Mori snarled. All ships fire at will. The alien fleet opened fire with weapons that could shatter moons. Beams of exotic energy lanced toward Earth's defenses. Gravitational waves warped space-time. Quantum disruptors prepared to unmake matter itself. But the attacks never reached their targets. Hidden throughout the solar system, 50 relativistic mass drivers opened fire simultaneously. Tungsten rods accelerated to 90% of light. Speed screamed through space faster than the aliens could track. The projectiles were invisible until the moment they hit. The first alien ship to die was the heavy cruiser Eternal Dominance. A tungsten rod moving at near light speed punched through its exotic matter shields like they weren't there, then continued through the ship's hull, through its power core, and out the other side. The ship exploded in a ball of exotic matter that consumed 2 nearby vessels. What? Zex Mori began, then another rod smashed into his flagship's port flank. Alarms screamed throughout the ship as exotic matter containment fields failed. Kinetic weapons! Echo of Void shrieked. They're using relativistic kinetic weapons. Our shields can't stop them. All across the alien fleet, ships began dying. The tungsten rods struck with the force of nuclear weapons, but they were just the beginning. As each rod penetrated an alien hull, it released its coating of nanites into the ship's systems. The nanites spread through the alien vessels like a plague, consuming exotic matter and using it to replicate themselves. Within minutes, entire ships were being eaten from the inside out as their own power systems became food for humanity's microscopic weapons. Impossible! Zex Mori roared. Humans don't have this technology! Captain Lee Jun-ho's fighter squadron chose that moment to attack. 100 human fighters appeared from behind Earth's moon, moving faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. They used alien power systems with human tactics, closing to point-blank range before the Confederation ships could respond. This is Raptor Squadron, Captain Lee broadcast on an open channel. Time to show these lizards how humans really fight. The fighters swarmed the alien fleet like angry hornets. Their kinetic weapons and particle beams tore through exotic matter shields that had never been designed to stop close-range attacks. Lee's own fighter put 3 railgun rounds through the bridge of a Confederation destroyer before spinning. A way to engage another target. All ships, emergency jump, Zex Mori ordered. Retreat to safe distance and regroup. But the alien ships couldn't jump. The nanites had infected their exotic matter systems, and contaminated exotic matter couldn't be used for faster-than-light travel. The Confederation fleet was trapped in Earth's solar system with weapons they couldn't understand facing them from every direction. Dr. Kim So-jin watched the battle from Sol Station's control room. The aliens were in chaos, their formation broken, their shields failing. It was time for humanity's ultimate weapon. Sol Station to Earth Command, she reported. Stellar Collection Array at full charge, ready to fire on your command. Admiral Park studied the tactical display. The alien flagship was wounded but still fighting. One shot from Sol Station would end this. Target the flagship, Admiral Park ordered. Fire when ready. Sol Station's massive array focused the power of Earth's sun into a coherent beam of pure energy. The beam lanced across space at the speed of light, carrying more power than humanity had ever wielded before. The beam struck Zexmori's flagship amidships. The exotic matter hull, designed to withstand any known weapon, simply vaporized. The ship broke in half, its power core exploding in a flash of light visible from Earth's surface. Fleet Admiral Zexmori had just enough time to realize he had made a terrible mistake before his ship disintegrated around him. The remaining alien ships tried desperately to escape. Some attempted to surrender. Others fired their weapons wildly at any human target they could find. None of it mattered. Humanity's weapons had been specifically designed to kill Confederation vessels, and they did their job with merciless efficiency. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, 200 Confederation ships had been reduced to glowing wreckage, drifting through Earth's solar system. Not a single alien vessel escaped. Admiral Park opened a communication channel to the galaxy. This is Admiral Park Hyun-woo of the Earth Defense Force. Any Confederation ship that enters this solar system will be destroyed. Any attempt to attack human colonies will result in retaliation against Confederation worlds. Humanity is no longer prey. The message spread across the galaxy at light speed, carrying news that would shake the Confederation to its core. The primitive humans with their small guns had just destroyed the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Earth was no longer defenseless. The battle was not over. Even as Zexmori's flagship died in fire and light, more Confederation ships dropped out of hyperspace. These were reinforcements, called by emergency signals before the main fleet was destroyed. 50 fresh warships appeared at the edge of the solar system, their weapons already charging. Admiral Park watched the new contacts appear on his tactical display. "Looks like they brought friends," he said grimly. "Sir, we've used most of our relativistic ammunition," Captain Nam reported. "The mass drivers need time to reload." "Then we fight with what we have left," Admiral Park replied. "All units, prepare for close combat." The reinforcement fleet was led by Grand Admiral Kethmak, the most experienced military commander in the Confederation. He was an ancient Saros whose scales had turned silver with age. He had conquered more worlds than any other living being. "What happened here?" Kethmak demanded, as his sensors showed him the wreckage of Zexmori's fleet. "The humans destroyed them, Grand Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "All ships lost. No survivors." Kethmak stared at the debris field in shock. 200 ships, reduced to scrap metal by primitive humans. It was impossible, but the evidence floated before his eyes. "How did they do it?" Kethmak asked. "Kinetic weapons, sir, moving at relativistic speeds. Our shields couldn't stop them." "Kinetic weapons?" Kethmak's yellow eyes narrowed. "But that's impossible. No species develops relativistic kinetics before exotic matter manipulation." "The humans are not following standard development patterns, sir," the tactical officer replied nervously. Kethmak studied the sensor readings. These humans were more dangerous than anyone had imagined, but 50 ships should still be enough to subdue one planet. "All ships, maintain maximum distance," Kethmak ordered. "Use long-range exotic weapons only. Do not close with the enemy." The reinforcement fleet spread out across space, keeping millions of kilometers between themselves and Earth. Their exotic matter cannons began charging for long-range bombardment. But humanity had prepared for this too. Commander Shin Yu-jin coordinated Earth's response from the hidden command center on Luna's far side. Her screens showed the alien ships positioning themselves for long-range attacks. "They're trying to stay out of range of our kinetic weapons," she reported to Admiral Park. Switching to bombardment mode. "Activate the gravity web," Admiral Park ordered. Throughout the solar system, hidden platforms began generating artificial gravity fields. The technology was copied from alien science, but improved by human engineering. Dozens of gravity generators created an invisible web that stretched across millions of kilometers of space. The alien ships found themselves caught in gravitational currents they couldn't see or understand. Their formation began to drift apart as artificial gravity pulled them in different directions. "What's happening to our navigation?" Kethmak demanded. "Unknown gravitational anomalies, sir," his navigator replied. "The gravity fields are artificial, but I don't understand how they're generated." "Humans don't have gravity manipulation technology," Kethmak roared. "They do now, sir," the navigator said quietly. Dr. Lim Jae-wook watched the gravity web do its work from the Luna facility. The alien ships were being pulled into positions where Earth's remaining weapons could reach them. "Gravity anchors deployed," he reported to Commander Shin. "Enemy ships are trapped in the web." "Excellent," Commander Shin replied. "Captain Lee, you're clear for attack run." Captain Lee Jun-ho led his surviving fighters in a desperate charge against the alien fleet. His squadron had lost half its ships in the first battle, but the remaining pilots were fighting with the fury of people defending their home. "Remember," Lee told his pilots, "their shields can't stop kinetic weapons at close range. Get in fast, hit hard, get out." The human fighters accelerated toward the alien fleet, using their hybrid propulsion systems to achieve speeds that should have been impossible. They weaved through the artificial gravity fields like dancers, while the larger alien ships struggled against currents they couldn't control. Engineer Park Dong-woo fired the first of the remaining relativistic rounds from his asteroid-mounted mass driver. The tungsten rod screamed through space at 90% of light speed, guided by the gravity web directly into the side of an alien battlecruiser. The ship exploded in a flash of exotic matter, but this time the aliens were ready. Their remaining ships began firing quantum disruptors, weapons that could unmake matter at the atomic level. The disruptor beams lanced toward Earth's hidden installations. One beam struck an asteroid platform, reducing it to fundamental particles in seconds. Another beam targeted the Luna facility, but struck Dr. Kim So-jin's experimental shield array instead. The shield held. Dr. Kim had used alien technology to create defenses specifically designed to stop exotic weapons. The quantum disruptor beam scattered harmlessly across the shield's surface. "Impossible!" Kethmak snarled. "They have quantum shielding too? What else are these humans hiding?" The answer came from Sol Station. Dr. Kim had rebuilt the stellar collection array after its first shot, this time with multiple focusing lenses. Instead of one massive beam, Sol Station could now fire a dozen smaller beams with pinpoint accuracy. "Sol Station online," Dr. Kim reported. "Multiple targets acquired. 12 beams of focused solar energy lanced out simultaneously, each one striking a different alien ship. The beams cut through exotic matter hulls like hot knives through ice. Ships that had survived the destruction of entire planets died in seconds under the concentrated fury of Earth's star. Captain Lee's fighters reached the alien fleet as Sol Station's attack struck home. Lee himself targeted Grand Admiral Kethmak's flagship, diving through a storm of enemy fire to get close enough for a killing shot. His railgun rounds punched through the flagship's bridge armor, just as Kethmak realized what was happening. The ancient Saros had just enough time to understand that his 1,000-year career of conquest was ending before Lee's weapons tore his ship apart. But the aliens had one final surprise. As their fleet died around them, the surviving ships activated their self-destruct sequences. They were going to take Earth with them in a blast of exotic matter that would sterilize the entire solar system. "Sir!" Captain Nam shouted. "The alien ships are going critical. They're trying to create a chain reaction." Admiral Park felt cold fear in his stomach. If the aliens succeeded, Earth would become a dead rock floating in space. "Dr. Yoon," he called over the communication system. "Can you stop the chain reaction?" Scientist Yoon Da-eun was already working frantically at her console in the Luna facility. "I'm trying to disrupt their exotic matter containment with nanite swarms," she replied. "But I need 30 seconds. "You have 10 seconds before they reach critical mass," Nam reported. Dr. Yoon's fingers flew over her controls. The nanites that had already infected some alien ships began spreading rapidly, consuming the exotic matter that would fuel the self-destruct sequence. But it might not be enough. Commander Shin made the hardest decision of her life. "All units ramming speed! Stop those ships from detonating!" Across the solar system, human ships and installations threw themselves at the dying alien vessels. Mining ships, cargo haulers, and military vessels alike rammed into alien hulls to disrupt their self-destruct sequences. Lieutenant Kim Bo-ra piloted her fighter directly into the engine core of an alien destroyer, sacrificing her life to prevent the chain reaction. Captain Nam Tae-jun's cruiser crashed into an alien battleship's self-destruct device, both ships exploding in a ball of flame that lit up the dark. The sacrifice worked. The alien fleet died in individual explosions instead of one massive detonation. Earth survived, but at a terrible cost. Admiral Park looked at the casualty reports with heavy eyes. Thousands of human lives lost. Dozens of ships destroyed, but Earth was still alive. "Sir," Captain Lee reported from his damaged fighter, "we're receiving signals from across the galaxy. Other species are asking for our help." Admiral Park raised his head. "Help?" "Yes, sir. Species that have been enslaved by the Confederation. They're asking humanity to liberate them." Admiral Park looked out at the stars. Earth had survived the Confederation's attack, but the war was far from over. Somewhere out there, billions of beings were still suffering under alien oppression. "Signal the fleet," Admiral Park ordered. "We're going to finish what the Confederation started, but we're going to do it our way." The sky above Earth still glowed with the fire of battle. But for the first time in galactic history, that fire represented hope instead of conquest. Humanity had proven that small guns in the right hands could bring down giants. Now it was time to free the galaxy. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Admiral Park Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of humanity's newest warship, the Liberation. The ship was built using captured alien technology combined with human engineering. It was faster, stronger, and more dangerous than anything the Confederation had ever created. Through the viewports, Park could see the Kepler 442 system where humanity's colonies had been attacked. But now human ships filled the space around the planet, and 50,000 freed human prisoners were returning to their homes. "Admiral," Captain Nam Tae-jun reported from his new position as Park's chief of staff, "we're receiving more liberation requests. The Vegan system, the Centauri colonies, and the Tau Ceti mining worlds." "How many species are asking for help now?" Park asked. 47 different species across 200 star systems, Nam replied. "They all want freedom from the Confederation," Park nodded. It had taken humanity 6 months to build a liberation fleet, but now they were ready to take the war to the enemy's home territory. Dr. Yoon Da-yoon entered the bridge carrying a data pad. She had been promoted to Chief Science Officer for the Liberation Fleet. Her work with alien technology had made humanity's rapid expansion possible. "Admiral, we've finished analyzing the captured Confederation databases," she reported. "We now have complete maps of their territory and locations, of all their slave worlds." "What's the total count?" Park asked. 1,237 enslaved species across 3,000 star systems, Yoon replied quietly. "The Confederation has been doing this for over 5,000 years. Park felt anger burn in his chest. Billions of beings suffering under alien oppression, while the Confederation grew fat on stolen labor and resources. Dr. Kim So-jin's weapons development is complete, Yoon continued. We can now mass-produce nanite weapons, relativistic kinetics, and stellar collection arrays. Every ship in the Liberation Fleet carries enough firepower to destroy a Confederation battle group. President Kang Mi-ra appeared on the bridge's main screen via quantum communication link. She was still on Earth, coordinating the political side of humanity's galactic war. "Admiral, I have news from the Confederation capital," President Kang said. "They're trying to negotiate." "Negotiate?" Park laughed bitterly. "After what they did to our colonies?" "They're offering to release all human prisoners and recognize Earth's independence," President Kang continued. "In exchange, we stop our liberation campaign." "What did you tell them?" Park asked. "I told them that humanity doesn't negotiate with slavers," President Kang replied firmly. "We're going to free every enslaved species in the galaxy, and then we're going to make sure this never happens again." Captain Lee Jun-ho's voice came over the communication system from his fighter squadron. "Admiral, we're detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. Looks like the Confederation is sending another fleet." Park turned to the tactical display. 300 alien ships were dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. It was the largest Confederation force ever assembled. "Admiral," came a transmission from the alien fleet. "This is Supreme Commander Vorthak of the Confederation Defense Force. Surrender immediately and return our stolen prisoners." Park opened a response channel. "This is Admiral Park of the Human Liberation Fleet. We don't surrender to slavers. If you want to fight, you'll get one." "You cannot win," Vorthak replied. "We have 300 ships. You have barely 50. "Then, you should have brought more ships," Park said calmly. "All units, attack formation. Let's show them what free people can do." The Human Liberation Fleet moved forward to engage the alien armada. But this time, they weren't alone. Ships from a dozen liberated species joined the attack. Former Confederation, slaves now fighting alongside their human liberators. Engineer Choi Min-ho commanded a massive weapons platform built into a captured asteroid. His relativistic mass drivers had been upgraded with alien technology to fire faster and more accurately than ever before. "First salvo away," Choi reported as dozens of tungsten rods streaked toward the Confederation fleet at near light speed. The alien ships tried to defend themselves, but their shields were still useless against kinetic weapons. The first wave of rods punched through their hulls and released nanite swarms that began consuming the ships from within. Dr. Lim Jae-wook coordinated the gravity web from his science vessel. The artificial gravity fields pulled alien ships out of formation and into positions where human weapons could destroy them easily. "Gravity anchors deployed," Dr. Lim reported. "Enemy fleet is trapped and disorganized." Captain Lee led his fighter squadrons in a devastating close-range attack. His pilots had become masters of hybrid alien-human technology, using speed and maneuverability that no pure alien ship could match. "This is Raptor, Leader," Lee broadcast. "All fighters, remember what we're fighting for. Every alien ship we destroy means another world set free." The human fighters swarmed through the Confederation fleet like avenging angels. Their weapons tore through alien hulls that had once seemed invincible. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia died under the guns of pilots fighting for justice. Dr. Kim So-jin fired Sol Station's upgraded stellar collection array from her position in the asteroid belt. Multiple beams of focused solar energy lanced across space, each one precisely targeted at an alien ship's critical systems. "Direct hits on 6 enemy vessels," Dr. Kim reported. "Their exotic matter cores are destabilizing." The alien ships began exploding in chains of exotic matter detonations. But this time, Dr. Yoon's nanites contained the explosions, preventing them from damaging nearby human ships. Supreme Commander Vorthak watched his fleet die with growing desperation. These humans fought with a fury and skill that defied explanation. Their weapons were more advanced than anything in the Confederation arsenal, but they were being used by people who understood war better than any species in the galaxy. "All ships, retreat," Vorthak ordered. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." But the nanites had infected too many ships. Contaminated exotic matter couldn't be used for faster-than-light travel. The Confederation fleet was trapped and being systematically destroyed. "Surrender," Vorthak transmitted. "We surrender." Admiral Park considered the offer for exactly 1 second. "Surrender accepted. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any attempt to self-destruct will result in the immediate destruction of your entire fleet." The surviving alien ships complied. They had no choice. In 1 hour, the largest Confederation fleet ever assembled had been reduced to less than 50 damaged vessels. Captain Nam Tae-jun led the boarding parties that took control of the surrendered ships. Among the prisoners was Supreme Commander Vorthak himself, the highest-ranking Confederation officer ever captured. "The war is over," Admiral Park told Vorthak during the surrender ceremony. "The Confederation as a slaving empire ends today." "You cannot govern the entire galaxy," Vorthak replied bitterly. "Chaos will follow. Species will war against each other without the Confederation to maintain order." "Then we'll help them build something better," President Kang said, appearing on the communication screen. "We're forming the Free Worlds Alliance. Any species that wants to join will be welcome, as long as they agree to never enslave another being." Over the following months, the transformation was remarkable. Species that had been enslaved for centuries were suddenly free to govern themselves. The Sauros rebels, led by Commander Velthar's own son, overthrew their government and established a democratic republic. The ethereal fragments united into a new collective based on consent rather than forced consciousness merging. Even the hive minds split into independent clusters that chose their own paths. Dr. Yoon Da-un established the Galactic Science Council, where species shared technology freely instead of hoarding it for military advantage. Engineer Choi Min-ho led the construction of massive shipyards that built vessels for exploration and trade instead of conquest. Captain Lee Jun-ho commanded the new Alliance Defense Force, a mixed fleet of ships from dozens of species all working together to protect the free worlds from any remaining Confederation holdouts. Admiral Park became the first supreme commander of the Alliance, but his authority came from the consent of free peoples rather than the threat of force. Every species in the Alliance had an equal voice in the Galactic Council, but humanity maintained its special role as the Alliance's military backbone. Earth's weapons technology was shared freely with all members, but Earth's shipyards continued to produce the most advanced warships in the galaxy. Any species that tried to restart the old ways of conquest and slavery would find themselves facing the full might of human engineering, guided by the fury of people who remembered what oppression felt like. President Kang Mi-ra gave the final speech at the founding of the Free Worlds Alliance. Representatives from over 300 species gathered in Earth's orbit to sign the charter that would govern their new civilization. Today, we create something that has never existed in this galaxy, President Kong said. A civilization based on freedom, consent, and cooperation instead of fear and domination. We do this not because it is easy, but because it is right. The galaxy belongs to all of us, she continued. Human, Saros, ethereal, hive mind, and every other species that chooses freedom over slavery. We will defend this freedom with everything we have because